Alright. I took the time to make this little short story to explain my Halloween costume, so I kind of made it out of a bunch of random pieces that would make sense for this kind of thing. So, yeah. I'm gonna read it out real quick, just for a little bit of a Halloween pre-thing, but it's not really that scary in my humble opinion. It's actually a little bit different than what one would expect. But, anyway, let's get started, shall we? Roberto the Engineer, by me. Roberto was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. His parents would buy him anything he asked for. When he was a kid, he got the SNES from his parents. Super Nintendo Entertainment System, for those who don't know. This was very important to him because the characters in his games was all he had. His parents... His parents would give him the SNES. Hold up, give me a sec. His parents would give him the SNES and the best control they could buy to not have to look at him. Roberto was born with a facial deformity which made his left eye be 2 inches lower than normal, and for that side of his face to droop. This deformity made his parents disgusted. However, in the games he was free and the characters were his friends. Then Roberto had to go to school. His parents were disgusted at him and didn't want others to be disgusted as well, so they bought a small hockey mask for Roberto to wear to school. This would cover his deformity. Then they decided to hot glue the mask to his head so they would never be able to see his face again. Roberto was in extreme pain and confusion. The burning sensation from the sticky substance was horrid and the cold mask made him recoil, but he was confused as to why his parents would do that to him. Since the law would punish his parents for extreme child abuse, they paid off the police $130,000 in that county to not prosecute. It came the day when Roberto had arrived at school. He went to the entrance of the elementary school. It was fall and the tree leaves were turning red like someone's arm after it was bruised. Then he saw his fellow kindergartners. They all saw the mask and made fun of him for it. He was humiliated and scared of what the kids would do. This continued as the once red leaves died, regrew, and came back anew. He always would be alone by the same trees to get away from his bullies. Let me do this so you don't see the rest of the story. After school, Roberto went into college and got a degree in physics to become an engineer. He was emotionally unstable by that constant harassment by then. The mask also made him unattractive, so he had no partner to console him, and his parents never wanted him to exist anyway. He became wicked and vile. He used his knowledge from engineering and metalwork to exact his revenge on his family and those who antagonized him. He fashioned a weapon, an old rusty lead pipe he found laying around in an alley. Crap. Lots of Discord notifications. Ignore the Discord notifications. There were bits of grime and gunk. I think I put hunk. Oops. That's a stream. On it that he left. This dirtiness on my pipe will make the bodies of my enemies. Will cleanse them of their actions by removing their ability to make an action at all, exclaimed Roberto. This constant mental abuse made him unable to make any sense whatsoever at this point. As seen by what he just freaking said. That's complete nonsense. It also made him angry, not just at one thing, but at everything. He found a hobo. The hobo was down on his luck and had a raggedy brown trench coat, on, along with old jeans. He had no shoes or socks and only a dirty white shirt underneath. He was a man with a stubby beard, big brown eyes, and brown hair. He was very frail and looked very friendly. The hobo jumped back to the wall of the alley when he saw a 6-foot man with brown hair and strong stature running at him with a pipe. Roberto ran at the hobo and took a swing at his head. It missed and broke a piece of concrete. The hobo ran for 5 feet when Roberto leaped after him and hit him over the head with the pipe. He then took the pipe and hit his head with it 7 extra times. The first extra swing cracked his head open. Then, by the end of it, there was little to no head left to speak of. The hobo's brains were in chunks like pieces of gel, and his skull was cast about the concrete. It looked like pieces of eggshell had been casted about the concrete after someone peeled a hard-boiled egg there. The blood was covering the front of the pipe, and Roberto realized he needed a better grip on the weapon to more efficiently kill people with it. So he took the hobo's bloody shirt and wrapped it around the bottom of the pipe to make a handle grip. He then took a piece of metal lying in the alley and bent it to make a handguard out of it. Then, after fastening it in place with 2 nails, he found the hobo's trench coat. He went to do what he came to do. Afterwards, he would look for ways. Okay, I still need to edit this a little bit more, as seen. He put on a mechanic's uniform that he stole the day before and replaced his current mask with one that looked more like Jason's mask from the horror films. It wasn't exact, but he wanted to instill fear into those who wronged him. He then made the mechanic's uniform bulletproof by lining the inside of it with 5 layers of Kevlar on. 5 layers of Kevlar on the torso, and for all of the mechanic's pants. He did this because he wanted the satisfaction of killing the people himself and not letting a gun do the work for him. To get close and personal with the gun, he'd need Kevlar. He was a smart man. Too bad he didn't put it better use. With everything in place, Roberto was ready to crush the skulls and break the bones of the people who hurt him. There was a party that all his enemies were going to that was hosted by none other than his parents. Roberto ran at the crowd yelling, "My mask will be the last thing you see!" He swung through the clouds. He had a newfound strength from his rage. With one swing, he could obliterate 3 heads at once. People ran but could not escape his pipe and his reach. He then saw his parents on a stage they had bought. It was wooden and made to be a temporary place to host a play or to dance on. Their eyes were filled with fear. Their formal outfits were covered in nervous sweat. They clutched each other's arms and then huddled together one final time. Their son roared, "You made me this way. My face doesn't mean you should burn it. If anything, I should burn you with the hot glue. However, that would be too slow of a death. You aren't worth the time on this wretched rock floating in space." Then he clubbed them with the pipe multiple times, letting off a little so he could see them suffer more than the other people whose bodies would twitch after their heads exploded like a watermelon. He swung once and broke their ribs. He then swung again and broke their legs. Roberto was dissatisfied with their cries of agony. He wanted them to suffer more than he did. So he used the pipe and his arms to break his father's neck so that his mother would experience sorrow before he would smash her lungs. His mother pleaded, "Please let me live. I've done nothing wrong to you. I don't even know who you are. Please." Then Roberto interrupted her. "You're saying you don't remember your own son?" His mother replied, "I've never had a child, and I adopted one. Before I die, I want to say I did horrible things to him, and I regret it." Roberto yelled, "You don't mean it. You're just trying to make me think I shouldn't kill you for what you did." The doctor said, "I mean it. If you kill me..." "No, I'm sorry." Roberta rejected it and swung for her chest. The pipe shattered her collarbone and damaged her lungs. He then realized that she wasn't trying to save herself. She was actually apologizing for it. He dropped to the ground. The woman who made a monster didn't like what she turned him to. The reason why she did what she did wasn't because of what he thought was the case. She did all these horrible things to protect him from worse things that could happen to him. The means didn't justify the end. After he was done weeping, he realized he had nothing to live for. Someone who actually cared about him for once was dead, killed by his hands. He then decided to finish up the remaining people at the party to end their suffering. Then he vowed to kill off those like him, monsters. Not the monsters on the outside, but monsters on the inside. He started off with the officers that I'm gonna add this a little bit. That his adoptees editing could happen a lot. Paid off. Those men allow the suffering of a child because of money. He swung the pipe with elegance now rather than with rage-filled swings with no finesse. The pipe always hit the temples of the cops and made their heads dent. The bulletproof mechanic's uniform blocked the bullets that were shot at him. If he had been shot one more time, the Kevlar would have gave way and he would have been shot to death. Now and vowed to purge the earth of criminals and maniacs. Behind him was the ground turning red like the leaves of the trees he was under during autumn. The thing is, do his means justify the ends, or did he make the mistake his adopters made? And that is the story of Roberto, the engineer. And that's what my Halloween costume's after. This is my first short story, as you can see by all of the typos and stuff, which I will fix for to read if you want to read it on your own or show it to people. So don't be too harsh. But yeah. Links on my Twitter. I didn't want to promote it in this video because I figured it would be unnecessary and quite rude. But yeah. Have a nice stream. A nice day. That'll end this stream / and